All right, we are trying again. I didn't have my microphone plugged in the first time. I went on for 5 minutes and it was pretty good, if I do say so myself. I'm talking about the Simply Jesus Gathering podcast on Spotify. You're going to want to check it out. Um, the highlights for me, I started from the beginning, listened to all of the 2013 conference. You're gonna enjoy that as well. And then the second year they did it, the first opening session was done by a guy named Bart, and that just blew me away today. I was listening to it, and Bart tells an encounter with Jesus that he had in a lucid dream. His whole talk was about this lucid dream he had, and where he encounters Jesus. And let me just tell you about it real quick. I love Bart, by the way. He grew up not knowing anything about Christianity. He's got a really fun testimony that he shares the in the first conference. But yeah, check it out. Check out. Put in some links in the description. There's Simply Jesus website, which I'm going to leave a comment there in the chat that you can go and check that out. But yeah, I found it on Spotify. It's a great listen if you're out and driving around like I do, just to listen to something amazing, something that recenters us in the reality of Jesus Christ, the reality of with a capital R of Christ, in whom we live and move and have our being, and who lives in us as well. So Bart shares a story about where he's in like these. He wakes up in his dream, a lucid dream, right? He's in this and outdoors. He's just wandering, and he sees this light up ahead, this candlelight, and he goes to it, and it's a cottage, and he goes to knock on the door. The door just swings open, and there's Jesus with a glass of wine in his hand, saying, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Welcome, come in, and you should go find the rest of you." And it's like, oh, now he's got a mission. He's got to go do this. He's got to go find the rest of him, whatever that means. So he goes out from the cottage and he sees himself, who's terrified to come in and saying, I'm, you know, he tells this whole elaborate story where he goes out and finds, I don't know, like he fills up the place with other versions of him as he's bringing them all in. And then Jesus says to him, "There's one more." You got to listen to this yourself. It's amazing. Um, and he says he's in the basement. You put him there a long time ago. He's in the basement. And share with him this message. And he goes up to his ear and he says, "Tell him he's one of my favorites," or "Tell him he's my favorite," something like that. So he goes down and he sees this creature that it's like his first impression is Gollum. And this represented his shame, the most shamed part of him he finally relays that message from Jesus, brings him up, and there's a celebration that ensues. And it's like, wow, the integration and wholeness that Jesus brings, the healing he brings to our most broken parts, addressing everything that we think keeps us from him. Anyway, so it's pretty amazing podcast. Encourage you to check it out. That's what I've been really listening to a lot lately, and just getting really encouraged and blessed by Jesus. He's real. We live in a world that's very Jesus deprived, almost on purpose, right? You watch movies and there's no mention of Jesus. It's like the programming um, that the world gives us is not good. It's not good, but Jesus is good. So I encourage you to dive into him and read those gospels as if you've never read them before. Let Jesus speak to you through the Gospel of John and the Sermon on the Mount. Shane Claiborne once got up and says, "I'm about to give you the best sermon in the whole world." Hmm. Okay. And then he starts reading the Sermon on the Mount. And then he closes the book and he says, "Amen," and walks off the stage. Sermon on the Mount is where Jesus raises the bar so high to the perfection of the Father. And he says, "Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect." Be perfectly loving, like your Father, the source of your being, the source of your very being. And yet, even in spite of him raising the bar so high, he says there's no one left out. There's no one left out. There's no one that there isn't grace for, right? That where sin abounds, grace much more abounds, so that no one is lost. No one is lost. Everyone is redeemed by Jesus. And this is the Jesus we proclaim and preach, the one who's always beckoning us into our truest identity of the purest love, like your truest identity, the holy version of you, the made whole version of you. Just as Bart experienced, all these different fragments of himself and was able to gather them all in, and become this whole being that's completely reconciled and embraced by the healing embrace of Jesus and fellowship of Jesus. You too can experience that wholeness. And it's a message I need to hear continually. I wake up with such grace. You have no idea. You know, by the end of the day, sometimes I'm like convinced I'm irredeemable. And then he just, in the morning, he just whispers to me, my grace is new every morning, and look at this provision and that's for your healing. And Jesus is all about healing us. So I hope that speaks to you. And God bless. Check out this podcast. Go look it up on Spotify. Check out the website and enjoy. Peace out.